All right, welcome back for more L'Hôpitals. Not today, well, yes, today, but we're going to look at the case of infinity minus infinity. Again, L'Hôpital's rule does not apply directly, but there's a trick, and that trick, well, this trick actually can be a bit varied, but the most common solution is to get something like common denominators. As I said, there are other things you can do sometimes, but that is a common one that'll take care of the problem. So often common denominators and some manipulation will change infinity minus infinity into a form that L'Hôpital's rule handles. So let's do it by example. Let's look at the limit as x is going to 0 of the cotangent of x minus 1 over x. So remember, the cotangent is cosine over sine. And the sine at 0 is 0, so it's blowing up. It's going to infinity. And the 1 over x, well, the x is in the denominator is 0, so the fraction's blowing up. So it's infinity minus infinity form, and we can't do L'Hôpital's rule. However, we can do this. So let's rewrite cotangent, as I said, as cosine x all over sine x minus 1 over x. And then let's get common denominators and see what happens. So we get x cosine x minus sine x all over x sine x. All right, so a little bit ugly, but what can you do? Well, I guess the top here, that x will be 0 and the sine will be 0, so it's 0 on the top, and the bottom will be 0 as well. So it is indeed 0 over 0, so at least we can do L'Hôpital's rule to it. So it's a product rule problem first, so the derivative of the first is a 1. And then you do the derivative on the second, so you get minus x sine x. And then the derivative of the sine is a cosine, and there's a minus in front. Product rule on the bottom again, derivative of the first, and then an x times cosine. Ooh, so that looks pretty horrible. We do have some good news. We get cancellation here, so that's good. But the top is still 0, and the bottom, well, it's 0 too. So it's still 0 over 0. Yeah. But we learned last time, or that sometimes this can be saved by doing L'Hôpital's rule again. So it's product rule again. So it's minus 1 times sine. And then the derivative of the sine is a cosine. And over here we have derivative of sine, cosine. And then we have 1 times cosine. And then a minus x times a sine. Okay, now the top, the sine will be heading to 0, and this guy will be heading to 0, and this guy will be heading to 0 because of the x, but the bottom will be converging to 2. So we just get 0 divided by 2, and, well, that's still 0. So the answer is 0. All right, there you go. That's working with infinity minus infinity. See ya.